Welcome to another video on geometry nodes. Today we will see about useful geometry nodes tips to speed up your workflow. This is for the beginner level. For advanced level we have Node Wrangler add-on which has a lot more useful tips and shortcuts. But to begin with, you have to get familiar with the geometry nodes. So we will be seeing the basic tips which will help you to understand the nodes better and also a little bit speed up your workflow. I release new videos on a weekly basis. Please subscribe to my channel so that you will be notified when I upload a new one. This is Jay from CJ Academy. Let's begin. This is a custom workspace which I have for myself. I have covered about this in a separate video. Add the link in the description. I can create one from the scratch, but it will take some time. I don't want to take so much of your time. So I have done a pre-setup. I'll just quickly explain what I have here. I have a cone. I have a cube. The cone is used for points with subdivision mesh, subdivision surface, and divided into as points. I have cube here, which is the instance, and then both are joined along with the basic cone, and then added as a to the output. This is a basic setup which I have already covered in few videos. The instance on points and what are the different ways to feed the points input in the instance on points. So in this video we are going to see about the tips. So I just explained the basic setup. The first is about the socket inspection. What do I mean by socket inspection? This means whatever you see here, the individual entry points or the exit points, these are all called sockets. Okay, and they carry some data always. Okay, if you see here, this is called 4 integer because I have kept 4 here. Same way, the socket inspection is very helpful to understand when you have a node socket connected to another place. So this means 4 vertices, side segments, fill segments I have. The data goes out is 5 vertices, 8 edges and 5 faces. And if I come here, same data. So if you see same data, that means this data flow is success. And if we see here, we have subdivided 3 times. So that means exponentially 3 times it has increased to 258 vertices. Now if we go here, the same data, and when it comes out it will be different. Yes, because it has subdivided again on the surface level. Now if you see the points, we started at 5 vertices, the 5 points, but we ended up out with 1026 vertices, that is 1026 points. Now this is what considered for the points input, 1026 points. Same way if we see here, this is mesh, but here we are using it as instance, so whatever is accepted is accepted. So there is no specific information about this will come out because this whole cube, whatever measurement you have, will be accepted as it is. Okay, and here 1026 times this cube instance will be used or will be created. Okay, and this is what flows through here. So here it will be different, and if you see here, as I said, 1026 points, so 1026 instances. Okay, so the socket inspection will help you to understand what kind of geometry you get out and what kind of geometry or what kind of data you are feeding in. Okay, so this is about socket inspection. The next is about response time calculator. So what you see at the top here is a response time, like how much time it took to calculate or give the or process this. Okay, and this can be enabled from here. So this is something called timings. So if I disable it, it's gone. So I can enable it again. So this is displayed for each node, not for the viewer node. Response time calculator is very helpful when you have a large geometry node setup. So just to see where it is slowing down or which part of the geometry creation you can improvise, and this will be very helpful in the long run. In this, it's not that slow or not that much time it takes, but even if you see here, the subdivision surface has taken a considerable amount of time considering the other ones, at least 3 to 4 times higher. So we have to understand that subdivision surface will impact if we use it in a large setup node, and we have to evaluate if it is definitely needed or not. If it is needed, then we'll have to optimize few things and see if it is improvising. Next, we are going to see about the viewer node. what is the viewer node? I'll just delete it and I'll just explain again. Okay, so viewer node is like a quick way to see any node in the geometry node setup, just to see what it looks like. Similar to socket inspection, like socket inspection is a text data and viewer node will be a visual data. Okay, so let's say a cone is here. So the cone information what you get is 5 vertices, 8 edges and 5 faces, but you cannot see it. But if you right click and say link to viewer node, then you can actually visualize the data. So whatever this cone is, that 5 faces, 4 and bottom on 5 and remaining information. And same thing applicable for any node you want to see. Any node, any place. Let's say you want to see what this looks like, because if you see the measurement is different. So right click and viewer. Sometimes what happens is you will right click and say link to viewer. It doesn't come here because you are currently selected this. Okay, only that will be connected to the viewer. Disconnect this. You have to be careful when you say right click select link to viewer. That means it will only select and pick to the active selection. Okay, now nothing is selected, so it doesn't come here. So you have to select and then say active viewer. Select, make sure that is selected, and then say link to viewer. Now we can visualize this data. Okay, now we are here. See here, if you see here, we have entered the subdivision mesh. If you see now, this is not non-subdivided one. Okay, now this is subdivided version, and then again if we go further, it's subdivided surface. Okay, now if we come for the instance on points and then do, we'll see the instance created setup. And if you come to the joint geometry and say link to viewer, you will see the joint version of it. What joint version? It's actually the cone plus the instance creation. Okay, now you see it didn't come here, it just connected here because I have not selected that particular joint geometry node before connect to link to viewer. So select it and then say link to viewer. Okay, so the viewer node is very helpful. I'll cover about the viewer node in detail because it has a lot of useful features. But right now know that you can connect any node, okay, any node to the viewer node just to see the data on 3D viewport. Okay, this doesn't affect the overall setup, it just gives you an additional visibility to understand how this works. Resize means let's say you have worked a lot of nodes, let's say even the viewer node you wanted to keep it somewhere, and then this is gone. There's two ways to bring it back. One is view and then say frame all. Okay, that means it will see the overall setup and fit it into the view. So you can find out which one went away and then say home again, then it will come to the usual level. There's one more way, a quick shortcut, that is it's shown here, a home button. Okay, if you click on the home button, that is also works. Same thing you can do and bring everything together. No matter how big your node setup is, it will try to fit everything into the view section, and you will get the overall of the geometry nodes which you have created. Next we will see about dissolve and delete. Dissolve, delete, what is the difference? So if you see here, these two are here, and the shortcut is Control X and X. Delete will just delete it and leaves everything in between disconnected. Okay, and you will have to connect it back. This is needed if you just want to delete it, that's okay. So Control Z still works if you want to go back. Okay, but there is a advantage with dissolve. Dissolve is when you have a big setup and you just don't want this particular thing to be here and you want to retain the link connection, then instead of going manually connecting it again, go for Control X. That will just remove that node socket and just will re-establish the connection. Now if you see, there is no subdivision surface. Control Z, it comes back. Now I have just one setup. Okay, if I have multiple setup, then so for example this one or any node in between, like there are too many places it goes to. Okay, then you cannot manually connect it one by one after deleting it. So dissolve is the best way to do it. Repeat again, delete is X and dissolve is Control X. Control X will dissolve. Next we'll see about mute nodes, mute links. This is also very helpful. Let's say delete node, dissolve node will remove that node, but let's say you don't want to remove it right away, and maybe you want to see without that data. Let's say subdivision surface, I don't want it. So I did a Control X to dissolve it and then Control Z to back it. There is a easier way to do it. Mute node is nothing but M, keyboard key M. So if I say M, then this is muted. Okay, see, mute node. So that is mute option. If you say M again, it is restored. So mute node will just stop that node from being calculated, and if you see, the node socket inspection now helps actually. 258 vertices, it comes out as 258 vertices. Now this should have increased to 1026, but we don't have it. We have just 258. So whatever is subdivided here is passed through without calculated here. This is mute nodes. Now mute links is there. That is, you will be muting this link, which means you stop the whole flow. Okay, stop the whole flow means that is the shortcut is Control Alt, right click and drag. Now what happened here is it just stopped the data flow. Okay, it doesn't transfer anything. So what you all get is, so if you see, there is nothing else here. Okay, empty geometry. See, there is nothing to, there is no points to consider. Instance will be 0 because we have muted this link. This means we stop this whole flow. Okay, this is definitely different from mute nodes if you see. So Control Alt and then right click again. So this is received again, and let's test this with the joint geometry. Okay, so there is a sharp at the top that is coming from the cone. If I say Control and then stop this is gone. The whole flow is blocked. Okay, so this is very helpful when you want to visualize something or you want to see the geometry without a specific set of flow. So this is very helpful. Mute links, mute nodes are very helpful. Now let's see at the last the reroute node. Reroute node is nothing but this little dots we see here. How to get it? So I'll just delete this. Start to explain you. Let's do a dissolve here. So Control X. Now there is a joint geometry. Okay, joint geometry is used to bring this whole instanced object and also the main parent object which we used for the points source. To bring it here, it's not easy without bypassing these two. See, it's not good also. So how to bring it? So if you drag and release here and say reroute, reroute is also a node. Okay, it's a node in the dot format. Now you have a way to organize this, so you can connect it here so that geometry is also coming in. Now what I did is, the initial setup is, I know this is what we need to pick it, okay, for the rerouting. So I did is shift right click and then drag it, so you will make a reroute point at this moment and then bring it out, say reroute, okay, and then connect it. This is also same thing. Reroute node is not just for organizing the setup, it's also the data gets flowed. Okay, you see here the socket inspection again, 5 vertices 8 edges. You see 5 vertices 8 edges is flowed through 5 vertices 8 edges and then connected to this joint geometry to finally show up in the 3D report. Reroute node is beneficial and it is 2 in 1. One is to connect the different parts of the node setup in a easy way and in a more a clear way, let's say a clearer way, also to flow the data. So now I said it has the data input, so I can actually take it from here also. See, without the subdivision mesh, I can just bring the subdivision surface directly also. This works. So reroute node is powerful. So reroute node, I think it is in the, I think in the layout, yeah. So frame reroute. Frame, we can group a bunch of things into a, okay, you can select a few things and say Control J. This will be formed as a group. You can move it. So this is frame, and the other one is reroute. So this is under the add layout reroute. Okay, frame reroute. Yeah, we saw 7 topics. First is the socket inspection. Second is the response time calculator. The topic is at the top. Third is the viewer node. Okay, viewer node. Fourth, resizing of, so now also it's messed up, a little bit clumsy. So I'll just go for home button and you see overall setup how it is. Okay, you can resize it. Delete versus dissolve. Okay, control X versus X. Mute nodes and mute links. Then reroute. Okay, so I also covered the frame node. So that will be useful. Not maybe in the beginning level it will be not useful. See, if I see there is only one frame I can create, but it's a good practice. When you see now it is gone out of the frame, I'll bring the home button again. It's easy. It's very helpful. I have seen it very handy when I try something in the geometry nodes. Okay, so these are the useful tips for beginners, let's say, for the geometry nodes. When you start with it, you have to have these things in handy and know these are all existing. This will helpful to navigate through geometry node in a much quicker way. If you find this video useful, please like it, share it with your friends. If you want me to cover any specific topic in Blender geometry nodes or any other section, please let me know in the comment section. Please subscribe to my channel. I'll see you on another cool video. Thank you. Bye.